So while I'm waiting for the cluster to be ready, I would like to uh, explain a little bit about my project. I'm gonna walk you through the project. So first of all, I need to talk about the development environment I use for this project. I use dev container for this project. Um, this is the configuration for the dev container. And to use dev container, I need to give Docker file. This is the Docker file I use for dev container. Actually, I use the same Docker file for my GitLab CI/CD pipeline. The idea is that I would like to test everything and run everything on my local machine first, and then I will run everything on the pipeline only when I'm satisfied. So that way there will be no such a thing like this work on my machine problem along the development process. So these are identical actually. This is for dev container, and this is for the Docker container. This is for the GitLab CI/CD pipeline. So to run this Docker file inside the GitLab CI/CD pipeline, I use Docker and Docker pattern. So to use that pattern, I use Docker Compose. Because I use Docker Compose, I get cleaner environment, which means that there will be less chance for me to get error. So even though it gives me management overhead, I think it is worth it. I also use a lot of Terraform code in this project. For example, this is for R53 DNS. This is for EKS, and this is for RDS. This is for secret manager, and this is for VPC, and this is for security group. I also use a lot of script, as you can see here in this project. I create a lot of separate files to get more organized structure, and also to make this more modular. For example, I can if I don't want to use like RDS, I can easily delete this one. I can remove that from this one. So it is pretty convenient, and it is kind of modular. In this project, this is a 3-tier project. So I have front-end application, back-end application, and database. For database, I use RDS, of course. For the front-end application, I use this game, speed typing game, and I use React to create this project. I create this game from scratch. Something like game logic. So for the backend, I use Node.js. I use AI to create backend application. In this project, I use two pipelines actually. One is for the project repo. The other is for the Argo CD repo. So this Argo CD repo pipeline will be triggered when a code is chained. A chain is pushed into this repo. Something like this. I also use something like Docker in Docker here, but it's not Docker in Docker. It is called Canonical. It is more recent technology. It is called Canonical. I use customized, which is Kubernetes feature, to get more organized file system and to improve code reusability, something like this, like patches, stuff like that. This is for one tenant. This is for prod tenant. This is for station tenant. Speaking of tenant, this is multi-tenant cluster, which means that many tenants will share the same cluster, so that it would be more cost efficient. Even though many tenants create resources in the same cluster, I make sure that each tenant is isolated in individual namespace. So when resources from one tenant cannot communicate or exchange data with resources from other tenants. So to do that, I use like network policy, which is also Kubernetes feature, and I also use security for POC to improve the security. I do not keep Terraform state-find locally. It is important to talk about. I keep that in S3 remote backend. That way, I mean, it is better for team collaboration. Thank you. This is enough at Part